This is Nattering with E with your host, Eric Friedlander. What up, world? It's your boy E letting you know we are now proud members of the Visionaries Global Media family. That's right, catch us Wednesdays on Visionaries Global Media.
Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Brundan returns for another episode of Nattering with E. This is Frigid A with Eric and SJ. So, as you just heard, that's right, Nattering with E and shows such as Frigid A are now on Visionaries Global Media. Thanks to our guy, High Five Tom, for hooking us up with Chad and Diesel, who run Visionaries Global Media. Nattering with E can now be featured on Wednesdays, sometimes Sundays, sometimes other days, depending on how many episodes we feel like putting out. They said go crazy and just send us the footage. So yeah, we are ready to go. All right. As you know, as always, people, here we go. What up, world? It's your boy E coming at you from the Nattering with E studios. I'm here today joined by two people who I do the podcast with when one's not available and the other one is. And today I finally got them both on, Mr. Brundan and Miss SJ. So today we are going to be listing our 90s bands that are our favorites. So before we go into that, SJ, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm good. Just chilling, having a lazy day today. Went out for lunch with some of my sisters, so I'm doing pretty good. Nice and full, ready to record.
You've got like 19 sisters, so how many did you go out with?
Only two.
Only two of them.
Only two. The two I talk to.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And Brendan, how's it going, my man?
Doing good, man. Got into the spirit of the 90s last night with the Spin Doctors.
Nice.
And now I'm ready to roll. This is when the music's, I always say this is when music ended for me, was in the 90s, even though I listened to a whole bunch of 2000s, but this is always my go-to. If you look at my Spotify, it's full of best of 94, 95, 96, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, excited to get in depth on this one.
Yeah, I love that we were able to create through Shining Wizards that blend where we have like I think 6 or 7 people from the Discord just like created a blend of all their music. So it's like nice mix of 90s and things like that. SJ, you're on that too, right?
On what?
There's like a blend option for Spotify that we did through the Wizards.
Oh yeah, I have it.
Yeah. So we're all there and it's great. So this will go up on Wednesday, but we're recording on Sunday. And the reason I bring that up is because finally, after 30 years of being a fan, I finally saw the Leafs light up a team instead of get destroyed by a team by that same score. So yesterday, they beat the Ducks 9-2. Austin Matthews' second hat trick in 3 days. Bobby McMahon. Who the hell is Bobby McMahon? Has scored 5 goals in the last 2 games, so looks like the Leafs are doing well. And SJ, your Jets are doing good. Brendan, I think today, Sunday, it's the Stadium Series, right?
Yeah, they're losing 4-2 to the Islanders right now.
Oh, brutal.
Stupid Islanders.
So how do we want to do this for our 90s bands? Do you want maybe we'll go SJ, Brendan, me, or do you want to do Brendan, SJ, me, or do you want to do?
I'm cool with whatever.
Okay.
Don't care.
All right. So, because Canadians are known as being polite people, we will say, Brendan, you have the floor, sir.
Oh, the New Jersey people aren't known?
I don't.
I
mean, you had a show about the mafia for crying out loud.
That's true. All right. So, the way I thought about this is I pretty much picked bands and went off their what they did in the 90s. So I always had like if I would pick Metallica, which spoiler alert I didn't, I wouldn't use Kill 'Em All or garbage like Saint Anger. So first band I decided to throw out there is the Offspring. I
Ooh.
was a huge Offspring fan in the '90s, and I still enjoy their music right now. But they put out looks like three albums in the '90s, four. I don't know much about Ignition, but they had Smash, which was their hit that they got crazy with. Ixnay on the Hombre, which is still one of my favorite albums of all time, and I just listened to the whole thing today again. And Americana, which kind of put them out and helped their career take off. So yeah, top five bands of the '90s. Got to kick it off with Offspring. Huge fan.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Yeah, they're. I like I said, I listened to Ixnay and the Ombre again, and that I listened. I like wore that CD. I'll say CD because I had all these on CDs when I was that age. I wore that thing out. It was so it just has so many great tracks on it. I never did get to see them in concert, but I think you said you did before, right? SJ?
I've seen them twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
That's
very
awesome.
good.
Did
I
you
mean,
get to meet? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Did you get to meet them, SJ?
Oh no, I didn't meet them. No, like I think the first time I saw them, I won tickets. It was when they were with Sublime. So that one was
That's
a really good
cool.
show. And then I just seen them recently last year when I went for Simple Plan. They were the headliners.
Oh,
They
amazing.
were. You didn't see them with Everclear before, or was that a different
No,
show?
I seen Everclear with like Fastball and
That was it.
Vertical
Yeah,
Horizon, but
that
no,
was it.
not ever together. That would have been pretty cool though.
That would have been a cool show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if as I say, if I gotta recommend a few songs from them, obviously "Gone Away" is a great song. "Cool to Hate" is probably I like lived by because I hated everybody when I was that age and this came out. And "Meaning of Life" was a great song for Ixnay and the Ombre. I just can't say enough good things about that CD.
What was the second one? Gone Away and then
"Cool to Hate."
Cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, good.
I'm just making show notes at the same time, so I'll write this.
And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Kids All Right are. Sorry, the Kids aren't all right because they quote my name in it.
Oh,
And
amazing.
unfortunately, Brendan OD'd and died in that song, but it's still my name.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my god. Jeez.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one.
I gotta give Americana another good listen through.
Yeah, I love Gone Away.
Gone Away was great. Yeah.
And Self Esteem's a good one too. I don't know.
Self Esteem. Yeah.
Ooh.
That was like their first hit, I believe. So also because you can't have a podcast with us without talking about wrestling.
Mhm.
That was the first ever theme Brian Danielson used in Ring of Honor.
Gone
Self-
Away? Oh, Self Esteem. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Nice.
all right, I'll volley to somebody else who wants to take the reins.
SJ, go. You can go. I'm just gonna let Ivy out of my apartment, and then I'll be right back. But talk. But start.
Talk
Yeah,
amongst
sure.
yourselves.
Alrighty. So for my number 5, I had a really hard time picking these ones, but I was trying to go by kind of like, what I listened to most growing up and whatever. So my number 5 goes to Bush X, aka Bush now. But yeah, so they released 2 great albums in the 90s, which included like 16 Stone and Razorblade Suitcase. 16 Stone was great. They had like Glycerine, Machinehead, Come Down, like all those great songs. And then my favorite of the album of theirs is definitely Razorblade Suitcase because like that one was like banger after banger on that album. Like I mean, you've had like Swallowed, Cool Contagious, Mouth, Greedy Fly, like just on and on, like hits for that one. When I first discovered Bush X. They were actually on this Canadian show called YTV's Hit List. I don't know if you know who that is, Eric.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
remember that.
but yeah, so one day it was like I don't know, it was like boy band crush episode or whatever, and apparently Gavin Rossdale was a guy that girls crushed.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, I don't lie. I mean, he was pretty good looking, not gonna lie.
he was a pretty rocker.
Yeah, he was a pretty rock.
Yeah.
But no, like I saw them on there, and then like I just followed them since, and yeah, they've been great. They came to Winnipeg once back in '97, but I ended up not being able to go because I was sick with the flu. So I've never got to see Bush, surprisingly. Sadly.
Me neither. They were touring again, but tickets were just outrageous. So I took a skip on them.
Really? I didn't. Yeah, they only came here that 1 year and never again. So I don't freaking know.
That's too bad. That's a great choice
Yeah.
though. Swallowed is like one of my all-time favorite songs.
Mine is Greedy Fly. I really love Greedy Fly. That's my favorite one out of that album.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my number 5. What's yours, Eric?
So I have a bit of a rant before I go into my
Mhm.
5. So when it comes to deciding on the '90s favorite bands, I kind of went with two different lists. One was bands I listened to in the actual '90s, and then the other is bands I went back and listened to that came out in the '90s, if that makes any sense. So, like as a kid, I was like huge into Goo Goo Dolls and like Semisonic and New Radicals, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Bon Jovi. And then like now I'd get kicked out of like many social circles if I listen to any of those bands.
Yeah, I'm thinking about kicking you out for the New Radicals. Sorry.
Hey, you get what you give,
You know
right?
what you get.
That's good.
Yeah, but now okay, so my top 5, I would say um okay, this kind of sets the bar really, really high, but my 5th one is Alice in Chains.
Great choice. Can't go wrong with that.
So, as we mentioned before, we're all big wrestling heads, and when I used to love Tommy Dreamer, and so when he came out to Man in the Box, um, I was like hooked on that song. Um, so I had to like just get my hands on everything that Alice in Chains did. So like Jar of Flies, for instance, I must have blasted for like 6 months straight as soon as I heard it in like 2002 when I was a little bit older. I was like Man in the Box, Nutshell, Down in a Hole. Um, there's one called Queen of the Rodeo, which is just like such an awesome song. It's about it's interesting that song came out because at the time it did because like trans is more of a thing now, I guess. And so like the song's basically about a trucker who like hooks up with a trans man, and the guy freaks out when he finds out in the morning that it's another guy that he slept with, and so uh, the trans person goes and like has an affair with the guy's mom. So they sing about it. It's a crazy song. But yeah, Alice in Chains is my number 5.
Fantastic
Nice.
choice.
Have you guys
Man,
seen them live?
I can only imagine what your nether 4 are going to be if Alice in Chains is 5. My God.
Yeah, exactly.
I have not seen Alice in Chains live. No. I wish I had.
I have.
Nice.
But with the new guy.
Oh yeah, Duval. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
still pretty good with the new guy, but it was still Alice in Chains.
It's interesting too with like Duval came in to basically be the new singer, of course, but it seems like Jerry does all the lead vocals, and then he's the more the melodies, whereas like Lane was the main singer previously.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so you're number 5. I mean number 4, Mr. Brundan.
All right. So I am going with Everclear.
Ooh.
Huge fan of Everclear in mid to late 90s. I discovered them, I believe, with Sparkle and Fade. Like I heard a song off of that. And once the second album came out, yeah, that I heard Santa Monica first and just like fell in love with them.
I love Santa Monica.
Yeah, and then I
It's a good
heard
jam.
once So Much for the Afterglow came out, it was just like, all right, this is my band. I'm gonna listen to everything they have. Buy You a New Life, Everything to Everyone, Father of Mine, just like all that was Sunflowers. They had so many great, amazing songs throughout the 90s. Uh, Heroine Girl off of Sparkle and Fade is probably one of my top five favorite songs of all time, easily. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things about them. I never saw them in concert. They were in my area uh last summer, but it was actually on a day where I think we were on vacation someplace else.
Oh no!
But I do thankfully have a signed card from the band where they signed all their names. Thanks to somebody who's writing right now.
I wonder who.
And it's been sitting on the mirror of my dresser for years now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, gotta go Everclear #4 for me. So
You're
fantastic.
welcome. No, kidding.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Actually, what are your memories of Everclear?
They're just freaking amazing. Like all their songs are great. They're like very talented. Like I would see them again and again. Like they were so good live.
Yeah, I don't want to say they feel like two different bands with Sparkle and Fade and So Much for the Afterglow, but Sparkle and Fade definitely had more of a edge to it. But So Much for the Afterglow was just so good too. So hard to argue with that one.
Did they sing We Were Nearly Freshmen, or like who sang that song? For like the line is like, for the life of me, I can't remember. Something.
No, that wasn't them. I know that song though.
Yeah. I always
Yeah, I
thought
think I know that one too.
Yeah, that's a definite 90s song.
I always thought it was them, but apparently it wasn't.
And that's either like Semisonic or the Verve or one of that.
Let me look up.
I'm doing that now.
To Google.
Trent Tumanis? Or no, the Wallflowers.
Oh, Wallflowers are good.
Yeah, they're fine.
They
had
the
that
Verve
awful,
pipe. The Verve pipe. That was the name.
Oh, is the Verve pipe?
Yeah, Verve pipe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. They're the freshmen.
Oh, 1996 it was released. Huh. Nice.
Apparently a lot of people had For the Life of Me songs.
Yeah. What was their name? Hanging by a Moment. I think it was in the 2000s.
Lifehouse?
Lifehouse, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I know Lifehouse.
I blasted the shit out of that band. Oh my god, I was like obsessed. Them and 12 Stones, I was like so
12
into.
Stones was great. Yeah.
Oh, 12 Stones. Oh my god. Oh, love 12 Stones.
I remember being like big into those bands, like because I'm only about, well, like you're both 40, right? So I'm about like 5 years
42.
42. So maybe 7 years.
I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'm 40.
5 years. 7 and 5 years younger. So I'm slightly behind. But like I remember like my first memories of music were literally like 98 onwards. So I remember like all these bands and then going into like new metal and things like that.
Yeah, it's like a different generation of music. So like I grew up with a lot of the grunge bands and this like that. By 98, like it had changed. It was changing over to the new metal was getting a lot more popular and everything. Not a terrible thing for sure, but
like like our guy Tremont comes out to Freak on a Leash for H2O and like all the indies, and I'm just like, oh my god, I love that song.
That was a great song.
Rest of that album stinks, but that song,
Ouch.
That song was. Because actually, the only part that he could play because of the copyright is the part where he's like, and then the guitar solo. So it's like, oh, nice. So SJ, number 4 for you.
My number four, once again, I went to what I mostly listen to. So my number four is No Doubt. They're my number four choice of my top bands because I don't know, once I heard like Tragic Kingdom, I was hooked. Like that's such a really good album. And I mean, and Gwen Stefani was like a fucking idol. Like every girl wanted to fucking be her.
And
So,
every guy
but like
wanted
I mean,
to be with her. So
exactly right.
Yeah.
Fucking Gavin got her.
Yep, number 4 and 5
Anyways,
connection there.
yeah. But yeah, like see how they have like Spiderwebs, Don't Speak, Just a Girl, Excuse Me, Mister. Like all those were really good back in the '90s. And I mean, they had released other albums after that, but I just couldn't kept like with like that heyday. It was just too like I do like pop music, but they just got too pop for me. Like because I'm just so used to her, like her, like the Tragic Kingdom, the way it was more rock. So, but yeah, no, like I said, like No Doubt is my number four. That's another band that I never ever got to see live yet, unfortunately.
It probably costs you an
But
arm and a leg now.
I know. And they did come one year, but I wasn't in town, so I was pissed. But but yeah, no, like No Doubt's definitely my number four. Like, and I still follow Gwen till this day. Like with her solo stuff, I really like too. But yeah, but Tragic Kingdom will always be one of my favorites. That's my number four.
wait, Esther, you said something interesting on top of all that stuff. You said something else that was interesting. You like
What did
pop
I
music?
say?
You like pop music?
No, really?
When did that happen?
I wonder.
Hold on, my mind's not done blowing yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah! But yeah, that's my number four. What's your number four, Eric?
Oh man, it's tough. I'm just looking at this list and I'm like, which one do I want to make number four? You'll be blown away because last week it was technically my number one of Canadian bands, but it is number four here, and that is The Tragically Hip. I've loved this band.
Oh, that counts.
I have
Mhm.
I have loved this band forever. I've seen them 7 or 8 times. Every time that I go to a show, it smells basically like a marijuana house, which is as someone who dabbles in the electric lettuce, I can definitely say that Tragically Hip is one of the reasons why that is. I think they actually have their own marijuana company now because cannabis is legal up here. Um,
Woo!
I
Most
love,
places here too.
yeah. I think Mike was saying Mike LOL Peterson was saying that Massachusetts it became legal like last year or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. But yeah, Tragically Hip, I absolutely adore this band. Up to Here from 1988, the year I was born, actually, is probably my favorite album. Um, I've done a couple of like covers, singing for them. So I did a
Nice.
couple of those songs. A buddy of mine and I, true story, we sang, we did a copy of, I forget the name of the song now. Shit. But anyways, long story short, I played this for a girl for a girl, and this is. I hope my parents don't listen to this now because it was the first time that I did a little more than kissing was after I had shown her that song. So it was the first time I did a little more than kissing at the time. So I was like, oh sweet, I got to play that. Or um. Okay, so this name of the song was Opiated. Opiated. It's great. It's a great song. But yeah, they're fantastic. I've seen them at what's now the Scotiabank Theater probably like 6 of the 7 times. I saw them once at this like place called Kensington Market, which is like a historical staple in Toronto. Um, Actually, no, that was the one concert I didn't see because they were playing half an hour sets or whatever and having like small audiences in there. And when me and two friends went to go check it out, they canceled our set because get this, they wanted to have dinner, so they had to make a cut at one of the sets. So they put the kibosh on the set we were going to. So I was like, seriously? Seriously? So I lived like north of where that was. So I went back home because I was like, okay, fine, I'm not going to stick around. My friends who didn't like the hip but came with me stayed, and they got to meet Gordy and Rob Baker from the band right at like as soon as they got in.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
Nice.
so it's like I could have met like Gord Downey, but I was like, no, I'm going home. These guys are eating, like screw them. Sort of like it was really stupid. But yeah, great band. So that's my number 4.
I still can't believe you haven't met him. What the hell?
I know I've seen them 7 times and never met them.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's weird. I got in a fight once at one of their concerts over I went out with this girl and we bumped into her ex's best friends. And like they had her cornered for some reason. So like I was buying a shirt for my sister and the guy selling me the shirt was like, I think your friend's in trouble. And I turned around and I like see they're cornering her. So I like ran over and I like body checked them from behind. And who came to break it up? 4 off-duty cops. They're like, hey, what's going on here? And we're like, oh, nothing. We're just playing. We're just playing. So we almost got arrested, but we were like, no, it's totally fine. We literally have each other with like our hands in a. This is an audio only podcast, but like picture us having our hands on each other's shirts, ready to throw punches, and these cops come. They're like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, nothing. We're playing around. We're playing around, and they let it slide.
I think you told me the story already, actually, too. I think I
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Crazy. New for Brundan, I guess, but yeah.
Hey, I listen to your podcast too, so.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, sir. You know what? I appreciate that more than you know, that like that someone actually listens to what we're doing. So it's great. But yeah, so next up is our number 3.
Number 3. So
Tree.
my 1 through 3 can literally just be in different order depending on how I feel. So I'll throw the big name out there. I'm gonna go with Nirvana.
Ooh, at number 3. Oh,
At
man.
number 3.
Damn.
Hey, this is my opinion, so.
No, I'm just saying, like, like your next 2 are
No,
probably like huge.
That's just really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like up to this day, I still absolutely love Nirvana, and they only had 2 CDs technically in the '90s. So, In Your Toe and everybody's favorite, Nevermind. But I mean, they also had the Live Unplugged CD, which was the last thing they basically did before Kurt Cobain died. I specifically remember seeing "Smells Like Teen Spirit," being at my grandmother's house and seeing like one of the first times they played it on MTV. And I would have been like 10 or 11 maybe, and just absolutely falling in love with them then. And it's just gone on and on for them. So, yeah, Nirvana, number 3. Just so many great songs that they had. I'm trying to pull it up now. I don't know why it's not working. Songs like so you say All Apologies, Rape Me, which I got 102 on karaoke once.
Nice.
Heart Shaped Box. Dumb. I mean, just all the great songs off of Nevermind. They're just amazing. So it's hard to you can't really have a 90s rock music. It might be like the popular choice, but it's hard to not put them on it. Let me see. And Where Did You Sleep Last Night is like one of the greatest live songs I've ever heard. Even if it's a cover of Lead Belly song that's on the Unplugged CD. So
Nice.
because obviously I was maybe 13 when Kurt Cobain passed away. I never saw them. I did see a cover band do Nirvana last year, and that was amazing. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
Pretty sick. Pretty sick. Nice.
So after like 20 years of avoiding them, I'm also into Nirvana now. I was like so anti anti them. I just like, I don't know, they just weren't my thing. Like I loved grunge, as I noted with Alice in Chains, but like Nirvana couldn't get into, mainly because they ripped off DDP's theme music.
Lies.
And
And Chris Jericho. No, Chris Jericho was Pearl Jam. Never mind.
Yeah, so like Smells Like Teen Spirit is like such an iconic song, you know? Like you can't think of Nirvana without that song, I would argue. Like it's great. Are you into Foo Fighters now? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved Foo Fighters ever since. They're just Dave Grohl is like the greatest musician of all time
Yeah.
in my mind. I mean, being the drummer for one of the most successful bands, then moving on to singer for the Foo Fighters, another super successful, plus Queens of the Stone Age. That was him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and them Crooked Vultures, he played
Yeah.
drums for it. But
He's just it's ridiculous how good he is at everything he does.
yeah. It's insane to think that like them Crooked Vultures was basically Nirvana, Nirvana slash Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, and Led Zeppelin all in one because they had John Paul Jones play bass.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then Josh Homme from Queens of Stone Age and Caius was also on that project. So, unbelievable stuff. It's cool seeing these guys, like the guys who once these bands dissolved. It's cool to see like some of these guys have still had like such a big impact like 20 years later. So yeah, it's awesome. SJ, how do you feel about Nirvana?
I love them. I mean, they're I can't give a spoil. Never mind. Oh yeah, I love them. They're really good. They're really amazing.
Fair enough. What's your number 3?
Well, for my number 3, I went with Korn. Because like
Great choice.
I remember listening to their debut album in like '96. Like even though it was released in '94, but that's when I first discovered them. And like, yeah, a friend of mine just showed me the song Blind and Shoots and Ladders. And then when I heard that, I was like, damn, these guys are good. Like, you know, I was just like, wow. And then I just continued to follow them up until like, you know, Life is Peachy, Follow the Leader, like, you know, like Life is Peachy, All Day Dream About Sex. I love that song. Yeah, and then like Follow the Leader was like a good album altogether, like with like Freak on a Leash and Got the Light. Like it was just they're just a really amazing fucking band. And like that's another band that I freaking still never got to see either, unfortunately.
I forget that they did so much in the 90s too.
Oh, they did so much. Like it was unbelievable. And then also they released Issues. Like Issues was out too. So but yeah, they're definitely my number 3 because like I still listen to them till this day over and over. That's my number 3 band.
I discovered them on Beavis and Butthead. Like probably a lot of other people of my generation. They had Blind on there, and it was one of their most popular videos.
Nice. So. That's awesome. But yeah, I still gotta see them. Sad Panda.
Yeah, I discovered them on what was that Limp Bizkit song where they were in? Was it Break Stuff or Nookie?
I think
it was Break Stuff because he had a bunch of people on his. Yeah, they were on a few of his videos.
Yeah, like I used to just friggin' love Limp Bizkit back in the day, like 2003. I was like, oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Well, like John
it's
Silver
all for the Nookie baby.
Yeah. John Silver and Sonny Kiss are like always at shows with like Fred Durst. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous because they're younger than me, and I'm like, but you get to meet these guys. Like, oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
I saw them in Jacksonville back in 2013, and then I'm gonna go see them again in Toronto in July. Yay!
Limp Bizkit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they still tour. They're amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
did you not know they were going to Toronto, Eric?
I had no idea. They were still kicking.
Yeah.
Oh
Jesus
man,
Christ.
now I have to see you not only for Money in the Bank but also for Limp Bizkit.
Shit,
Amazing.
I thought you knew.
Yeah, amazing. So,
Yeah.
from new metal to really, I had no idea you're into this, Eric, but one of my favorite bands ever, but mainly in the 90s, was Hootie and the Blowfish. I fucking
Nice.
love. I
Good
fucking.
choice.
I sorry to curse mom and dad. I love Cracked Rear View from 1994. That's the one that has like every song you'd ever hear on the radio, like Let Her Cry, Hold My Hand, Only Want to Be With You, Time, Hey What Can I Do? What else? Innocent. Oh no. Those are the main songs there that I would say. But yeah, like I love Hootie and the Blowfish. All those songs are just phenomenal. I've never seen them live, but I met someone once. I think I told this on the podcast before, but I had a friend who she met she and her friends were front row at a Hootie and the Blowfish concert, and like Darius Rucker, aka Hootie,
Hmm.
leaned over, pulled out his room key, and gave it to her, and was like, "Hey, come back after the show." And she was like, "No, I have a boyfriend. I'm not gonna go back with you." So, um, I made the joke. I'm just like, "Well, how do you get back into his room if he gave you his room key?" And she's like,
Guys like that, they have a couple of room keys,
yeah,
trust me.
Yeah.
that's actually what she said, and I was like, no, he's like out there stuck, still trying to get back into his room because of you. You should have gone. But yeah, he so it's funny. He covers old Crow Medicine shows Wagon Wheel, and people think that it's him who did the original, but it's them. Uh, so it's interesting that way too, because like Darius Rucker has like a really good solo career, but I will
Mhm.
forever know him as like Hootie from the Blowfish, Hootie and the Blowfish. So I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's like a
Yeah.
country artist now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
actually,
Nice.
funny story for you guys too. Did I ever tell you the story where um I'll tell you this story and interrupt me at any time if I've told you this before. So, a few years ago, I was working at TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, just volunteering, and I'm wearing a Philadelphia Phillies baseball cap, and this British guy comes up to me, and he taps me on the shoulder and he says, "Hey, I never do this." And you're thinking to yourself, like, "Oh, this guy was a couple years older than me, so like probably like 30, like if I was 29, he was probably 32, let's just say." And he comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder, and says, like, "I never do this." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this? What the hell is happening?" He pulls out an old Phillies cap, and we start talking about like how even though he's from England, he loves uh the Phillies, and I tell him about how I love crappy sports teams and so on. And so at the end of the conversation, he shakes my hand and he sees my shirt, says my name, and he's like, "Eric," in a British accent. He's like, "Eric, it was a pleasure meeting you." And I look at his shirt, and his shirt says Henry Cavill on it. And I had no idea it was Superman. So I was like, it was a pleasure meeting you too. Hen, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, that is crazy. And he leaves, and someone is like, "Oh, that's so cool. Like, who was that guy?" And I was just like, yeah, me and Superman go back 5 minutes. So, the reason what that has to do with Hootie and the Blowfish is that someone said to me afterwards, "Now that you've met Superman, who's the next like person or people that you would mark out for?" And I like thought long and hard, and I was just like, probably Hootie and the Hootie and the Blowfish, 100%, 100%. If I met those guys, I would like lose my mind. I would be like, so cool. I would have been like, "Mr. Rucker, I would have taken your room key."
Oh dear God.
He's like, "What are you doing here? I gave it to the girl." Sorry, bad joke.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so number 4 for Mr. Brundan.
Number 2 now, right?
Oh yeah, number 2.
Yeah, we're on number two
Yeah.
now.
And can I just say it's amazing we have not had an overlap yet. There's three of us.
Yeah.
And we've gone through 3 rounds and we have not overlapped yet. And we're
Yeah.
still not going to with this pick.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is the band Live.
Oh, nice.
So
Ooh.
I will say Live was like the first band that really got me into like rock. Like I heard what song was it?
Was it Lightning Crashes?
No.
No?
All Over You. I heard that on the radio and I was like, who is this? And I need whatever CD this is on, and I'm gonna play this forever. So I instantly got Throwing Copper from my parents and just like played the hell out of it until it was scratched to death. They were like my first like real favorite band that I can remember as a kid. I mean, like I had other bands, but they were mostly like my father's band. But this is the first one like I really discovered and like got me into this type of music. I played the hell out of this, listened to lots of I Alone and Lightning Crashes, obviously. They had actually, I believe they had 4 albums in the 90s. And if my mouse would cooperate, I could look. Let's see. So they had 1991 Mental Jewelry, which probably nobody's heard of. I had that. That was a good one. 97, they had Secret Somalia, which is a very underrated underrated CD. I listened to the majority of that last night. It's extremely good. And 99, they had The Distance from Here, or Distance to Here, which had When Dolphins Cry, which is also another one of my favorite songs from them.
Yeah, that song's a jam.
Yeah, Live.
Nice.
Throwing Copper will always be one of my favorite albums. I would listen to it back to front anytime I would listen to it. So, yeah, just
Nice. I honestly didn't.
Go ahead.
No, I honestly didn't know they had more music out than that.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
they have a lot of CDs. I mean, even after that, into the 2000s, they had a hell of a lot of CDs. They had a pretty popular career.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if it was
Pretty good.
them or REM, but like whoever the main guy was for one of those bands he came out as like highly anti-Semitic, and I was like,
I hope it's not Live.
I don't think it might be REM, but I would just one of those
I don't know if
bands
it would
was
be REM either. I gotta look this up now.
one of those bands was like not for them. Oh, Michael Stipe.
Oh, that is REM.
Yeah, Michael Stipe. Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah. So I was.
Wow.
I was like, damn it! I liked you guys. Now I'm gonna hate you, and I just.
Oh yeah.
I hate that stuff.
It's funny. I googled live lead singer, and the third thing that comes up is live lead singer Rat Tail, because he had that Rat Tail ponytail thing during Throwing Copper.
Right.
Another
Nice.
band I saw or really enjoyed seeing on Beavis and Butthead, even though they kind of crapped on them. But I'll get over with that.
I love Beavis and Butthead. Actually, people.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys noticed. For when I'm chuckling along, but do I sound like either of those guys, Beavis or Butthead? When I'm
No.
laughing. Okay.
You're good.
My coworkers.
Are you cornholio?
I hope not.
I hope not. I hope not.
Well, then you don't sound like them.
Because my coworkers, whenever I'm cackling at like the Discord while I'm checking my phone at work, they'll be like, "Oh my God, Eric, you sound like Beavis and Butthead," and I'm just like, I don't know if you've seen Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Classic.
All right, SJ, you're gonna break the trend, or what do we got? Number 2.
I have for my number 2. My number 2 choice is Metallica. Going to Metallica. What can I say? Like, I mean, about Metallica, they're legends. I mean, they've been around for so long, you know? My favorite album of theirs was probably from the 90s. Obviously, the one with the black cover, the self-titled, that had like all the like like banger after banger, like Enter Sandman, Unforgiven, Sad But True, Nothing Else Matters. Like, the whole album was just amazeballs, right? So, but yeah, like, I mean, I first discovered them, believe it or not, roller skating when I was like 11 or 12. They would always play like Enter Sandman for a speed skate. So then you would just like race around the ring to Enter Sandman, and that's where I discovered Metallica. So yeah, and I'm proud to say I have seen them in concert 3 times.
Nice.
So yeah, and I would give it another chance. I would go see them again, regardless.
Amazing.
That's my number 2.
Great choice. I mean, they had that
yeah.
year where they did Load and Reload like back to back. I remember.
Yeah, that one was amazing too.
Yeah, they had a pretty good 90s. I would say that they were
Definitely.
They felt like right outside my top 5. That's for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it was so freaking hard to make this list.
Yeah, yeah, it was impossible, really. Metallica, I remember I hated for the longest time, not because like a childhood bully was like obsessed with Metallica, so I was like, F this band because they're like his favorite band. But then going back to that comment earlier about Alice in Chains and liking Tommy Dreamer, I loved Enter Sandman from with when the Sandman would come out and like hit people with a Singapore cane. It would take him like a half an hour to get to the ring. I always wanted to see like Sandman versus the Undertaker just to see like but like in a winner makes it to the ring match because both their entrances are like 45 minutes. So, but yeah, that I've been getting into them more recently actually. So Baroness, who you both know I'm obsessed with, thanks to Will and Gina, their guitarist Gina Gleason, she was in a band called Miss Metallica, and it was an all women's band who covered Metallica. So they have a cover
Nice.
of Master of Puppets. That's like chef's kiss, basically. It's so good. So I've been into them since. And then I also disliked Metallica previously because I mean Rivera used to come out to that for the
Yes.
So I was and I'm not a Yankees guy. I've always been Oakland or the Blue Jays, so I just like nope, not for me, Mariano, not for me.
The only thing that made me mad about Metallica is when they closed Napster. I was fucking pissed.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, they make good music.
I forget what movie I saw recently, but they were like, it was going back to the 90s, and some guy is like coming into his house, and I think he's like really into music or something like that, and so he goes into his house, and all they show is like he turns on the lights, and Lars Ulrich is there with a silencer. They're like, this is what happened in Napster.
Oh, that sounds, yeah, you know what? That kind of does sound familiar now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what that was from. But yeah. So my next band is. So I have like a bunch of notes, and I'm just like, where am I right now? Because I have like a couple other rants that I want to get out too while we're doing this. Okay, so my next band is Blues Traveler. I've loved jam bands for basically my whole life, I would say. Like Fish is big for me as well, but yeah, Blues Traveler, like John Popper's a virtuoso, and he just the way that guy works a harmonica is unbelievable.
Yes.
He like four is a legendary album. Basically anything they come out with, I'm just like I don't know if you have bands like this too, Brendan, but where anything they come out with, no matter if like anyone else thinks it's like crap, just because they're your band, quote unquote, you're like, this is amazing, no matter what.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, so for them, I'm just like anything they come out with, I'm just like, oh my god.
Hook is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song. I've always wished I could do karaoke to that, but I can't sing that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to play harmonica. Harmonica is my instrument that I can do. I tried to play that for Hook, and I was like, nope, not happening, man, not happening. But yeah, Mountain Winds again, Brother John, Run Around. What else? There's tons. There was a song back in '08 that they performed on Letterman called You Me and Everything. And so
Okay.
at the time I thought it was a jam because I was just saying to Brundan that Blues Traveler is one of those bands where no matter what they put out, even if it's crap, I will always love it because I love them. Sort of thing. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have bands like that too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I remember I wanted to show this girl You, Me, and Everything, the song, and one of her so I posted it on her Facebook at the time, and one of her friends private messaged me and said, "Don't you ever send her music again. You listen to shit music and
Oh
stay
wow.
the heck away from her."
Holy.
And I was like, "Hey man, don't you?" I was like, "Don't you ever say that about Blues Traveler. They are the best. You are
Wow.
you are wrong. You are wrong."
That's crazy.
But yeah, I love that sort of music, like jam bands, things like that, and like that indie scene. I love that stuff. So it's great. I've never seen them live, but I've been a couple of years ago. Apparently, Hootie and Blues Traveler did a tour together, and
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
I was like, oh my god, I gotta go, and I wasn't able to for some reason. I forget, but
That sounds like a tour from like 1995.
yeah. So it'd be me and
I
like a bunch
think
of
Blues
like
Traveler, hold on. I think they played a fair here one year in the 90s, actually. I believe I remember seeing them at the Red Rex one year.
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, they were really good.
Well, like the things John Popper can do with a harmonica are just it's
I would go
unbelievable.
see them live. Yeah.
Yeah, they rule. They rule. They're like hardcore Republicans apparently, but like
Oh,
but besides that, I'm like, I don't care. Like I find that in wrestling too, when you find out that someone's become like big on politics and you're just like, oh, they went the other way than what I am, and I'm just like, I like you as a wrestler, at least. But like everybody hates Kane now, right? Because he's like the mayor of I think he's a Republican or something.
yeah. He's Republican mayor of Knoxville County, Tennessee.
Yeah, but as a wrestler, like I loved his gimmick back then, and then so I don't know. But yeah, so Blues Traveler is my number two. So
So
Nice.
before
we're
we
up
get into
to
it, before we
ones,
get into our
right?
number ones,
Hmm.
let's go through our honorable mentions
Oh
list.
God, this is gonna take forever.
Yeah, I got a
Or do you
whole
want to
bunch
do
of
ones
them.
and then do you
No,
want
it
to do
doesn't
ones and
matter.
then honorable
Whatever.
mentions?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do honorable mentions.
So I'll throw a few out there.
Sure.
Green Day for me was an honorable mention. They literally were like 5.1 for me. I played out Dookie like nonstop when I was a kid. Just like all their CDs in the 90s were so good. Like I'm not a biggest fan of them in the 2000s,
Mm.
but in the 90s they were just amazing. Pearl Jam was unbelievable. Just fell out. Stone Temple Pilots, I mean, Plush is one of the greatest CDs of all time. It's just hit after hit. Foo Fighters as well. We mentioned them before. Unbelievable. Korn. The more I thought about it, the more I tried to get Korn into my top five. I couldn't do it. Who else? So I got there. Creed. I think they only had
That's Kate's
one
favorite band,
CD.
right?
Yep,
I
it is.
love Creed. I absolutely love Creed.
Yeah.
Counting Crows was another one. Gin
Ooh,
Blossoms, Weezer, and Radiohead.
nice.
Yeah. So all those,
Good
if this
honorable
was a
mentions
top
there.
15, I had a lot of honorable mentions.
Were guys Sevendust big in the 90s or they're more
Yeah, yeah,
2000s?
and of course Sevendust too.
Well, they
They're
had
just
an
like
album in the
timeless.
90s.
They had
Yeah.
probably two, I think, because I think Denial came out in the
Hmm.
90s as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. They
I can
did.
look that up now.
Yeah, because I know the song Black came out, was like one of their first songs or something.
Black and Bitch were on the same album.
Yeah.
Those were 90s songs. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. Yeah. I love when they play those.
Yeah.
Home. Home was
Mhm.
1999.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, they had the self-titled and then Home, but like every song or everything they put out is great.
Yeah, they definitely would go into that category I was mentioning previously about a band that like anything they come out with, no matter if it's crap, you'll always love, you know? Like
100%.
Yep.
one of those.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
So SJ, your honorable mentions?
Sure, we want to go there? No, I'm kidding. Okay. So for mine, it's like so I have Silverchair.
Oh, sweet.
So good.
Like, Frog Stomp, Freak, like just so many amazing songs from them. And Daniel Johns is just amazing. I also had Stone Temple Pilots. I also had Pearl Jam.
Mhm.
I also had Soundgarden,
Good choice. Yeah.
Temple of the Dog. And then I had Everclear, Limp Bizkit, The Cranberries, Oasis, Blur, Nin, and Creed. That was my honorable mentions. See, I told you I had a shitload.
I'd
But
be
yeah, all
remiss.
those.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'd be remiss too if I didn't throw Nada Surf out there just for that
Oh
one
my
song
God.
Popular. That's like one of my
Oh,
all-time favorite 90s songs, but that's like all they ever did was that, so I couldn't
yeah,
think.
one hit wonders. Yeah,
Yeah, they were
And there's
totally.
also that there's also Beck too, like with
Oh,
Loser and all that. Beck, where it's at kind of thing. But I don't, was it 90s or was it 2000s?
No,
Back was 90s.
Loser was
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah, Beck was the 90s as well. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my honorable mentions. Like I said, I could say more, but we'll take hours. We'd be here all night.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
What do you got, Eric?
Okay, so this kind of brings me to a little bit of a rant before I get into mine. So, some bit. So as I was saying earlier, like I was like under 11 for most of the 90s. So I feel like when people are like, oh, I wish I was like my current age back in like the 70s or like the 90s. I literally feel that way with like the bands we just listed and things like that. So like um I've recently really got into like Yola Tango, which is they're a major indie band. They like any hipster who loves alternative rock will say like Yola Tango is like the band for them. Their album from '97, I Can Hear the Heart Beating, has so many jams. Like there's Stockholm Syndrome, Autumn Sweater, couple couple other good ones there. Their most recent album, This Stupid World, is fantastic as well. They have a song called Sinatra Drive that's great. Um, Also, Guided by Voices is a band that I just recently got into. They're like punk indie. They were big in the '90s. They were big in the '80s, going into the '90s. I remember off air when we were talking about how we were going to break this down. It was like just focus on the '90s, not their '80s albums. And I was like, oh my god, so hard, so hard. But I realized too that a lot of the bands that I was looking up started having like their albums in like '97, '98 when I was like 9, 10 years old. So I was like, oh, it's not too terrible. Um, Built to Spill is a band that uh, I really got into in the last few years that I really wish that like I would have gone and seen. They played last year. Doug Marsh is an incredible writer. Um, he now he changes the band lineup every couple of years, but like their most consistent lineup was from like '99 to about 2011. Um, so they have a song called Carry the Zero, and that specific song, when my previous dog Bailey passed away, I must have blasted that song for like 6 months afterwards. It just like was so emotional, and it was just it really got me through that time, I would say. So, like, thank you, Doug Marsh, if you ever listen to this episode. Thank you, sir. Also, I wanted so also I wanted to shout out our former co-host Bauerhausen. We did an episode of 90s Nostalgia Hour, episode 5, 90s emo music, where like I had no idea that bands like Jimmy Eat World and AFI and a couple others were actually 90s based. Like I always thought that they came out more in the 2000s, so that was pretty cool. SJ, I don't know if you knew this, but before you'd log on to record those episodes for 90s Nostalgia Hour, Bauer and I would be going through our music apps like Spotify or YouTube and just like share it. And we would just be like, oh, what were you listening to now? What are you listening to now? And so like we literally have these we have these like monster things. Playlists. So on our last episode about favorite Canadian bands and you working at a music store, I feel like between you, Bauerhausen, and now Brundan, I'll have so many playlists. It could be like Nattering E or Frigid A music store. Like we could create like our own music store. And if you guys are both up for it, I feel like we should do episodes in the future just reviewing like a specific band's discography. Like we mentioned so many good bands just now that I was mentioning to you yesterday about Oasis and Ride, for instance. Like both their discographies are awesome. Suitcase is great. So I feel like doing like sort of like a long form future episode would be cool. Just going through like discographies. So yeah, that's pretty much my
Sounds
honorable
good.
mentions. Yeah, that's pretty much my honorable mentions as well. Okay, so number 1 for each of us.
All right. So my number 1 and number 1 in my heart is Sublime.
Ooh, good one.
Loved, and I have just 30 on years of love of Sublime. It's never gone away. I unfortunately got into them, and Bradley Noel died pretty much right after I got into them. I remember being very pissed, but stuck with them. Went through the whole back catalog and everything. They were amazing, and it sucks that he was taken from us, by his own hand, pretty much. But they could have been. They were just about to break out like huge. Like their self-titled album was unbelievable. Obviously, I got into them with What I Got, but just that whole CD was just so good. Same in the End is probably my all-time favorite song. Any album, any band, anybody. What else? April 29th, 1992 is a great song. Caress Me Down is hilarious. But yeah, and then I went back. Was it Secondhand Smoke? If you've never listened to that album, it is crazy good. Or not Secondhand, I'm sorry. 40 Ounce of Freedom. That was their debut album. That's where Bad Fish was released on. Smoke Two Joints, 40 Ounce of Freedom, Scarlett Begonias, which was a cover of a Grateful Dead song. So Sublime, I just can't say enough great things about them. And to this day, I'll just throw on like a Sublime on Spotify and just listen to them and like all the other crazy bands that come up with their music. So number 1, Sublime.
Nice.
Santaria is a jam too. Yeah.
Santaria is a very huge
Yeah.
Fan.
If it wasn't for date rape, I'd never get laid.
Yeah.
there was like an 8-year period where I hadn't heard that song, and it came on, and I knew every single word still.
That's awesome.
KRS-One is another one. If it like Eric, you were mentioning jam bands and jam songs before.
Yeah.
Like Secondhand Smoke has a lot of that.
Yeah. Sublime's definitely in that category of like a jam.
Yeah.
Band, they're great. I remember.
And SJ, you mentioned No Doubt before. Have you heard Seeing Red before?
Is that another band?
No, Seeing Red is a song by Sublime and Gwen Stefani.
Oh, I
It's
don't think I heard
only
that one.
Yeah, it's only like a minute and a half long, but it's a great song.
Hmm.
It's funny, like these
I
guys, they put
will.
out more albums after Bradley Nowell died. Like they had, I think Robin of the Hood was after that, or no, that was a regular one. Stand by Your Van was a live. I think Stand by Your Van it was on because they did it live.
Ooh.
Secondhand Smoke, Greatest Hits, like all these. Sublime
Dang.
Acoustic was excellent. But yeah, they had like
Ah,
4 albums
okay.
after he passed away.
Okay, I am looking up that song right now, and I am adding it to my Spotify right now
Awesome.
to give it a listen. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, how did I
You can
not know
find it
that?
on YouTube. On YouTube too. They have
Yeah,
a
I just seen it on here
live version
too.
of them doing that.
All right, that
Yeah,
is added.
Awesome.
we can add these songs to the Frigid A playlist and make that
Hmm.
available for people. So we'll do that
Okay,
too.
Nice.
sounds good.
All right.
Oh,
Still no whatever it's called. Doubles yet.
Yeah.
just you wait.
That's why I said yet. What do you got for number one then?
Nirvana.
Nirvana.
There's no point in it going on because you pretty much explained everything already. But yeah, like I mean, I like Nirvana. Like they're my number one because they were pretty much the first cassette I ever listened to as a kid. My sister got me to listen to the Nevermind cassette. So and like since then, like I've just loved their music. Like Smells Like Teen Spirit, Lithium, and Bloom. Like like all the great songs they had there. And then as you were saying about the MTV Unplugged in New York, that like I agree that is like the most iconic unplugged album. Like like just great.
Easily.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, and then since my sister gave me that cassette, I've been following them since. But yeah, that's my number one. We already heard more about it already. So, but yeah, that's my take on Nirvana. They're just fucking amazing.
I always love the way what's it? I can never say his last name. Chris what the hell is that guy's name? Their bassist.
Kovics or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. However he said it. I always loved the way he played bass too. Like he
Mhm.
had it down so far, and it just I don't know. It just always looked really cool the way he would play. They're a great bassist.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And what
Amazing.
is your number one, Mr. Eric?
Okay, so my number one was actually in both of your honorable mentions, and that is Pearl Jam.
Great
I
choice.
I love Pearl Jam. For years, I drove one of my folks' cars had the Sirius satellite radio, so the only channel I'd listen to was literally the Pearl Jam station. So I listened to like their entire discography. Like 10 is amazing. Yield, Vitalogy, Verse, No Code, uh, Binaural. But funny story about Binaural. A buddy of mine who's been on the pod before, named Imran, we're childhood buddies, and so for my birthday, he had got me Binaural. Um, to this day, he doesn't remember why he got me it. He says it was probably because the cover looked amazing, because he doesn't listen to that type of music. And like I played the shit out of that album for like so long. Like Of the Girl is a jam. A couple of other songs that are on there is God's Dice, Evacuation, Nothing As It Seems. Like their entire discography, I could just blast forever. People who don't like them always say, all their albums sound the same, but I say incorrect, sir, incorrect.
Eat
They
it.
all
Mm-hmm.
they also
Yeah.
did a MTV Unplugged. It seemed like a lot of those grunge bands back in the
Yeah.
'90s did those unplugged. So that
Their
was
music really like lent itself to being unplugged.
yeah, yeah. Like Black by Pearl Jam Unplugged is
Yeah.
unbelievable. Um, like even Nirvana, all that stuff is great, and like Alice in Chains too. So yeah,
Yeah, they had an excellent unplugged Alice in Chains.
yeah, Pearl Jam,
Even Korn did it, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Unplugged was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say Pearl Jam's de-evolution video is one of the coolest videos I've ever seen in my life. For you kids that don't know what a music video is, they used to play them on MTV.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the I don't even want to say cartoonish, but like the animation of it was just unreal. And if you can't get up like hearing de-evolution, like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, no doubt.
And like all their songs are just like you can get into them really easily. Like I find with the Tragically Hip, for instance, like I love them and everything, but once you start playing songs past 1997 at their albums, I mean at their concerts, nobody knows what they're talking about. But like with bands like Pearl Jam, for instance, like you can play De-Evolution and then uh You Are, for instance, and everybody knows those songs. So it's interesting. It's great.
Ironically, because if you play Even Flow, you can't understand half the words he says.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody made a great video of somebody pretending to be like a translator for the deaf at a Pearl Jam concert, and he just puts up his arms while he's playing Even Flow. Like, I don't know what he's saying.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I remember that too.
Wow, that's amazing. We only had one overlap in our top five. Very diverse top five of 90s music.
That's
Definitely
great.
a lot of variety, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, SJ and I are working on a playlist for Frigid A for Nattering with Me. So we'll have that in the show notes. Brundan will get all your songs too to be put on that playlist. And yeah, cool. So next week we may potentially be talking about wrestling as the icon Sting retires in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. We will also have some other stuff. And thanks again to Visionaries Global Media for taking a chance on this little pod, and hopefully big things to come with collaborating with you guys. And SJ and Brundan, thank you so much for being consistent co-hosts over the last almost a year now. And yeah, appreciate you both.
Go back and listen to some 90s music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Golden Age.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As always, you can find Brundan at the Irish Misfit on Twitter or X, and SJ at Carnival of Chaos at Twitter and X, and myself E_Freeds on Twitter and X, as well as the Nattering with E Instagram page. If you'd like to get on the show, drop myself or SJ or Brundan a message, and we'll make it happen. And this will all be in the show notes. I realized last week after discussing with SJ that we only had a description. We didn't have anybody's tag. So
Yeah.
as SJ's been telling me since the get-go, if you want people to listen, you kind of got to promote your stuff, man. so
Yeah.
this time we will actually have tags. We'll have all of our lists on the notes. And as always, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Later.